knows best.
Hi, friends, and welcome back to Brenna Knows Best. I'm your host, Brenna Berg. Hi, how are you guys? Happy Friday. I'm in the best mood because I ran 3 miles this morning, and I also ran pretty far out, and then I got an iced coffee. I got Foxtrot on my way back, so I just was like strolling and walking. I will say, however, because I film on my phone. Oh, and Carter called me like mid-run. Literally, I was only at 0.7 miles. I'm like, fuck. Because when you run, you cannot stop. The second you stop, getting back going again is so freaking hard. Oh my gosh. I remember back in the day, me and my brother ran a half marathon back in 2016. And he lived in Minneapolis at the time. I was in Fargo. And I remember I went to visit him and Ashley, his wife, who wasn't his wife at the time. And me and my brother went on like a long run. So basically, they lived at the U of M. Oh, they didn't live together at this time, but when my brother was still at the University of Minnesota, he lived at an apartment right by campus. And we went on this run, and it was 4 miles out and 4 miles in because the race was like not that far away. If you don't know anything about like marathon or half marathon training, this was a half marathon, but basically you do like, let's say a 20-week program, or like, let's say 3 months. How many weeks? 12? No, let's say 20. And every single week, like my brother came up with the plan for me because like, he's a professional runner and knows what the fuck he's talking about. But like week 1, you know, you do a 1 mile run and then a 2 mile run. And then like in between you have rest days and stretching and like what is best for your body. And then also to prepare you. And before a big run, like it's so interesting. And now it makes sense to me. But I remember at the time, I'm like, what the fuck? 2 weeks prior to the half marathon, in my training, I was supposed to run a half marathon. Like you work your way up. Obviously, every single week you add mileage. So then the runs get longer. And then typically it would be like Tuesday you run, let's say 3 miles. Thursday you run 3 miles. And then I remember Saturdays were always my long run. So then you'd run like 6 miles. And then the next week it would slowly go up. And then they would put in the rest days in between, or like maybe 2 rest days after that long run, so on and so forth. Okay. If you've ever done a training program like that, you'll understand. But I remember it was like news to me. But I obviously was like only a few weeks out and got up to like 8 miles. Like that was in the training. My brother was like, okay, let's do it together, which God bless his sweet, sweet heart. When we did that run together, this was just practice leading up to it, training. He ran slow with me. Okay. When I ran the half marathon, to put into perspective, a half marathon is 13 miles. Okay, I'm not a professional runner. My time, I believe, was 2 hours and 20 minutes, which is like a 10-minute mile, roughly. I don't remember. You can do the math. There are calculators you can put it in. But I ran it in 2 hours and 20 minutes. Okay, my brother ran it in an hour and a half. 50 minutes faster than me. A whole fucking hour faster than me. And I think I've told you guys this before because LaDonna still, I literally brought it up to her on the phone that me and my brother now are talking about doing a 10K, which we'll get into. But she's like, oh my gosh, I'll never forget the half marathon. I thought you died. And I'm like, no, grandma, I'm just a regular fucking bitch who runs. And this is what a normal time is for like somebody who's not a professional. Like running 13 miles in an hour. It was an hour and 28 minutes, I believe. So less than an hour and a half. That's like a 7-minute mile pace for 13 miles. I'm like, oh, Brandon's just insane. But my family, like Brandon did cross country. Therefore, holy shit, sorry, I'm like choking on my own spit. Therefore, they were so used to him running and like think that's normal, but like he was one of the best cross country runners in North Dakota, which isn't saying, it's saying a lot. Like he was really good. They went to nationals, so on and so forth, but like probably compared to a bigger state, you know, I don't know where he would line up, but like he was really good. Okay. I'm just a regular person who had never ran before and just trained for this half marathon for the first time in my life. Like I'm going to run a normal time, like a 10-minute pace. But my family, their idea is so skewed because they'd only ever seen my brother run. And LaDonna's like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, that does not make me feel good. Don't tell me that you thought I was like, but anyways, I go and visit them and I stayed with my brother and we went on this run. And I remember it was 4 miles out and 4 miles back. But my brother was running more than me because, like, again, he was running slow. So he wanted to push himself a little more. So he was like, let's run the 4 miles out. There's actually a loop that you can keep going from there. Like, he had already ran this path, or we would track them through this Under Armour app, and he was like, you can sit and take a break, I'll run this extra like mile or two, I'll do this little loop, and then I'll come back and we'll run back. We ran the 4 miles. Okay, I'm like, literally, I cannot wait. Like, he's telling me when we're gonna stop. I stop. Okay, my brother does the mile or two, which is only like, it took him maybe 13 minutes because he's running so fast, and then I had to get back up and go and run the second. Like, the moral of the story is, like, when you take a break in running, don't do it. Just do not take a break, because getting back up and going, especially in a long distance like that, like 4 miles is not nothing. So then to get back up, like, your legs, what is that when you like drain? Oh, Brenna, you were an exercise science major. There is like, oh my gosh, you know how like runners like put their legs up on the wall because you're draining like whatever rushes to your legs, like you just feel so like my thighs are heavy. But anywho, I was only 0.7 miles in this morning and Carter called me to give me some hot gossip, and then that was that. Anywho, let's back it up. Let's talk about last week. I have a crazy story, which honestly, it's died down now. But Thursday night, I told you we were going to Nanny Boy's baseball game, and I picked Carter up from work and we drive on up there. It's like a 20 to 30 minute drive because it was like 5 p.m. It was, prime time traffic hour. And we get there and we watch, and I run into one of the Nanny Boy's friends' moms, and we're talking, and I introduce Carter, and the nanny parents were not there yet. And I didn't even text them or reach out to them. I was like, whatever, if they're there, they're there. If they're not, they're not. But like, obviously they have the sister. So I figured the mom was taking her to dance, and then nanny dad, he's busy working, running his company, and therefore whatever. Well, about halfway through, I see nanny dad. He's on the other side of the bleachers, and we go over there and we start catching up because we haven't seen them in a really long time. I think Carter, it's been even longer. And then nanny mom shows up as well. So we're catching up, talking, all of the things. And okay, fun fact, my birthday is coming up. It is on May 9th, which is a Friday. And the only reason I'm bringing this up, so this is 3 weeks from today. Okay. Nanny dad has the same birthday as Carter, the same exact birthday, which was in March, but it was his 50th. So nanny mom wants to throw a fucking banger, right? Because if nanny mom knows how to do anything, it's how to host and how to throw a party. Y'all, for nanny dad's 40th birthday 10 years ago, when I didn't know them and they still lived in Manhattan, do you want to know what she did? She chartered a private plane, because you can just pay outright for a private plane for an event. And she invited all of their friends, and they flew this private plane to Michigan, because nanny dad is a Michigan alum. He went to Michigan, go blue, so on and so forth, and is obviously a big Michigan football fan. Well, they must have obviously done the birthday party like not on his birthday, because football season is in the fall, but like it was for his 40th birthday. Fly all of their friends on this private plane. They get to Michigan. I think probably the game is the next day. So they go out, and then actually, this is so funny, but not funny for nanny mom. This Michigan football game is like actually a game that like goes down in infamy. Like, they lost at the very end, and I don't remember if it was like a playoff game. It was like a huge game. Like, I think, wait, what year is it? 2025? If you looked up 2015 Michigan football, like this is like a big game. They lost. So nanny dad, like nanny mom will bring up like his 40th birthday, because it was really fun overall. Obviously, like they took all of their friends and like went out and tailgated and did the football and like stayed at a nice hotel, and like that's amazing, right? But nanny dad is always like, that's like the worst fucking birthday of my life, because Michigan lost the football game, and it's like was the worst loss ever. So nanny mom is always pissed. She's like, stop, like don't quit saying that. It was not the worst. He was like, no, that was the worst birthday. I'm like, damn. But anyways, just to give you an idea, therefore nanny mom is throwing a banger, right, for the 50th birthday, but she wants all of their friends there, which all of their friends, they're from Manhattan. Well, not originally, but like that's where they were prior for like 20 years before they moved here. And then they have friends in Aspen, and their parent, Atlanta and Michigan and California. They have all of their closest friends, except for the few little families they have here are out of town. And in the middle of March, like spring breaks are happening. They have like family friends with kids as well. So planning that and getting everybody there was not working out. Therefore, they found a weekend, which is May 10th, the day after my birthday. They're having his actual party. It's like Mother's Day weekend, so they're kind of wrapping that into it. And it was a time that all of their closest friends could come. So that's what they're doing. Well, Nanny Mom sent out these invites a while ago. Oh, also, hello, the bar mitzvah that we threw at Globe Life Field for Nanny Boy, a 13-year-old birthday party, which a bar mitzvah is way more than a birthday party, obviously. However, we rented out Globe Life Field, Texas Rangers. That whole weekend was actually insane. She knows how to throw a party. Okay. And she cares deeply about throwing parties and how it's so important to like have these moments of time and like be with your loved ones. That's why I told you they gave us the whole spiel about the wedding. They were like, you need to have a wedding. Like it's all the people you love celebrating you. You'll never do this again. And I get it. And I'm trying to be better about that kind of thing. But like as of right now, doesn't make sense. And we're in a very different financial situation than they are. You know, I hope to be them one day, but like right now we're not them, right? We don't have the funds. But anyways, Nanny Mom sent out this invite like a months ago now, and it was sick. So Paperless Post, if you've never thrown a party, Paperless Post is a website where you can make virtual invitations and you send it out. That way people can RSVP. Like it does it all on this app, right? We used it for the bar mitzvah. And the reason it is like so seared into my brain is Nanny Mom decided not to do paper invites, like physical invites for the bar mitzvah. And like, of course, people had opinions on that because like traditional, just in any sense, you know, like weddings, like I think everybody should do virtual invitation. Bitch, what? Ugh, I'm so sorry. Virtual invitations, because it's just a new wave and like everybody's online. You spend so much money on physical. Do you know how much that shit costs to do invitations? Absolutely not. And do you know how much it was to like rent out Globe Life Field? It was like $150,000. Like we were already dropping a pretty penny. It was not my money. It was Nanny Fam's money, but like we were already dropping like so much money, and we're like the paperless or the physical invitations, those can hold off, right? Therefore, we created this online virtual invitation, and it's really cool. Like you open it up and like it looks like an envelope, and like the flap opens, and like in the flap we had something, and then the invitation pops out, and it was like baseball themed, and we read it over like a million times. We're like, this is the invite, right? And on Paperless Post you can send like practice ones. So we were sending me practice ones, like 100 of them, because we wanted to send them out. Time had passed. We needed people to know. It's kind of like a save the date, you know, and getting the RSVPs that way, whatever. Me and Nanny Mom were stressed as a fuck. We're like, this has to be correct. The date's correct, all of the things. And we had a few invitations because like for the bar mitzvah, and I don't know how this is, like if this is the norm, but what we did, if you don't know, first of all, a bar mitzvah is what Jewish people do. And it's like for boys and girls, it's a bat mitzvah for girls, bar mitzvah for boys. Boys, they have to be 13. I think girls, you can be 13 or 14. And it's kind of like the coming of age, like you're becoming an adult, like that sort of thing. It's just like the biggest thing in their life. It's not similar to, but like a quinceañera, like it's part of their religion and it's like a big thing. And like they throw a big party. I don't know the ins and outs, but basically over the weekend, Friday, because like I just said, all of their friends and family flew in. We had a welcome dinner for like their closest friends and fam. Okay, we did it at Terry Black's, the barbecue place. We rented out the private thing. That was Friday night. Okay, and everybody was getting in Friday and getting to the hotel and like obviously stopping by the house. Oh my gosh, that was such a crazy freaking time. And then Saturday morning, you have the service. So you go to the temple or the synagogue and there is a service. And this one was like apparently abnormally long. Y'all, it was like 3 hours long. It was like the church service, but then they tied in the bar mitzvah mitzvahs to it. So like there was a Jewish like service that was just like for anybody who typically comes on a Saturday morning, but then the bar mitzvahs as well. But for the bar mitzvah, like Nanny Boy goes up there and speaks in Hebrew, and they read from the Torah, and like there's a bunch of things that happen. I had a section in it. I read, obviously not in Hebrew, in English, like a prayer or something. And they kind of like do this thing where they honor people that are close to them. So like they asked me, and it's like kind of like an honor to be included. And I did this prayer, and like the Torah, see, I used to know these things. Now I'm forgetting. Like it's basically, what is that called? A scroll? Oh, I really don't want to fuck this up because like that's not okay. But like, for example, I remember Nanny Boy asked his baseball coach and then somebody else to hold the Torah because it's like this huge scroll. And like some of it, you know, is just for like the symbolism, I'm sure. But like, anywho, there was the service. And then after the service, you have a lunch, and they had it there, but like that was just whatever the synagogue puts on, and it was like bagels and lox and some other stuff, nothing crazy, but that was that. Then I remember I left early because I had to get back to the house. The makeup and hair people were coming because the girls, the women, like Nanny Mom, her best friend, Nanny Girl, Nanny Mom's mom, no, Nanny Mom's sister, whoever wanted that was close to us, got hair and makeup done. And then Saturday night is like the party. It's almost like a reception. And that was what was at Globe Life Field. So I went with the nanny fam. We all went early, obviously. We took our like private car, and then we got dropped off. We did a bunch of photos. I don't remember what time the party started at, like 7. We were there at probably like 6, just making sure everything was together. Obviously, there was a ton of workers there. We did a bunch of photos for him and fam and all of that. And then we had a rager of a party. And then the next morning, there was also a breakfast, kind of like a goodbye, and like everybody's hungover. And just like, again, to kind of wrap up the weekend. And then that was that. But that was the bar mitzvah. Anywho, it's a big fucking deal. Okay, so me and Nanny Mom are sitting here like biting our literal nails, like sending out this paperless post. And it was so y'all, I leave these parts in. I should probably crop them out. I don't know why I can't speak. Anticlimactic. Is that how you say that? I'm not really sure. Because we sent out the invitations, and then it was like, nobody answered right away. Obviously, it was like 5 p.m. on a Tuesday night. And like, I don't know what we expected, but we were just like so excited and giddy because it was like the start of like people knowing and RSVPing. And like we had been working on it for so long. Well, another thing that I did with Nanny Boys, I did take him to the temple once or twice a week. And because he had to learn the Hebrew. Like he had to learn the Torah and like what he was going to say and practice his Hebrew. Nanny Mom can speak Hebrew. Like that's, you know, she was born in Israel, but the kids obviously don't. They went to a school when they were in Manhattan for a little bit, where I think they had Hebrew there, but like they've forgotten it. And therefore I had to take him. And oftentimes when we were also driving to baseball, he would be like singing because there's also songs and they are in Hebrew. And so Nanny Mom's like, he has to practice. So we would be in the car, and obviously oftentimes I'm like, we don't have to do this. But then sometimes I'm like, okay, it's getting close. Like we really have to practice. So we would be singing the songs. I would obviously pick up some parts. But anyways, how the fuck did we get here? I don't know. I was just kind of reminiscing. But Nanny Mom sent out these paperless posts, and it was sick. This invitation for Nanny Dad's birthday, because he's turning 50 and they're having the party on May 10th. 510. So it was like 5 times 10 equals 50, and it had his initials everywhere. And I learned later that Chat GPT made it. She's like, Chat GPT made that invitation. But I was dying. I was like, oh my gosh, when I got it, it like took me back to when we were sitting there and like we hit send, because we were sending the invitation to like hundreds of people. And she was like, no, that's exactly how I felt when I was sending out this invitation, which this is obviously a way smaller party. It's only like 60 people, they said. But anyways, okay, we're sitting there, we're talking about the party, so on, so forth. They ask about our elopement and what we've planned. And I said, abso-fucking-lutely nothing. Right? Well, somehow, some way, they were like, why don't we have like a flash mob wedding at the birthday party? to anybody listening, you would be like, what the fuck? And now I'm there. But in the moment, like we were, catching up with them. I love them so much. Carter loves them. Like they were like, oh my gosh, because nanny dad is like not thrilled about having all of this attention at his birthday. He's like, oh my gosh, like why don't, because we were saying how we might go get married and then go on a trip, and he's like, why don't we do it at my birthday? And I know everybody that's going to be there because I was so intertwined in their life, but Carter doesn't. But they're all great people, and they're like, we can like make it this like quick little wedding, and nanny dad's like, I'll get ordained and I can do it, and then it can also be like a celebration for you guys and like have fun. And like they're either doing it like this birthday is going to be at a bougie fucking place, and like in the moment we're like, oh my gosh, yeah, let's do it. Like they're already planning this party, and I'm like, well, if we're just gonna go to the courthouse, then let's do that. Like who gives a shit, right? And me and Carter were like, yeah. And like all of these other additions, y'all, we literally went home, and I like thought, I texted my best friend Natalie, and I'm like, wait, I think we're gonna get married at nanny dad's birthday party, his 50th. And then we decided, like, when we were there, they were like, just go home, sleep on it, so on and so forth. So me and Carter are talking about it. I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like, how fun. And actually, my best friend Garrett and his entire family were invited to the party, but they're doing a big Mother's Day thing in Nashville and won't be coming to the birthday party. And they were like, oh my gosh, if you guys are getting married, like, they'll definitely come. Like, we'll get them to change their plans, that they'll be there. And I love them. They're like my second nanny fam. Well, I guess is my second family. I kind of consider them my first. And then the Adaires are like my second family. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Like, this will be so much fun. It's like some of my favorite people. But then, me and Carter are talking about it a little bit later the next day. And I'm like, I don't really give a shit. I'm like, it would be hilarious and like iconic and so fun. But then like Carter was like, I don't really know all these people. Like, are they going to think that's so fucking weird? Like we're getting like, is that tacky? And I'm like, oh yeah, kind of is a little bit tacky. Oh, and obviously Carter originally was like, my family, like if they learn that we had some sort of party, and I'm like, yeah, but it's like not a party to me. That wasn't like even a thought in my head. And I'm like, it's not, like it's something that they're doing. Well, we wake up the next day. Let me pull up these texts. Nanny dad texts us, okay, and he says credentials of ministry, and it has his name. This is to certify he's ordained. He got ordained. This was Friday at 11:33 a.m. I'm officially ordained. Not kidding. And then he sent the link of how he got ordained. It's like a website. And then Nanny Mom answered and she goes, y'all are bringing him closer to God for his 50th. Oh my gosh. And then she follows up, what greater gift can you give a man? I am so dead. Well, and then what did I send? Oh, Carter was not in the original group chat because nanny dad started it and he didn't have Carter's number, or he just didn't think that he had it. So I added Carter after the first messages, and then I sent a screenshot of what had been messaged. That way he saw it. And nanny dad's photo in my phone is him and May. He's like holding May. We were at a party. He was drunk. It was with the Adaires, and I put it there because he would always claim that he didn't like May. And I told you, they weren't big dog people. They now have a dog, but like they're just not big dog people. And he's very much on the utilitarian aspect or like end of dogs. Like he thinks that dogs should be utilitarian. They should have a purpose, and May does not have a singular purpose. And therefore he would always just like talk shit on May. Well, I sent that screenshot. So it had all of our little bubbles at the top, and he answered, most disturbing is the pic she has of me. So I sent it bigger. I zoomed in of him holding May, and I said, hashtag never forget. Anyways, Carter finally answers. He's at work, and he goes, is that certification legit? It's crazy that you can do that online. And then Carter goes, in quotations, we got married by a Jewish non-denominational minister at his 50th birthday party. See, like, I love, like, it's hilarious. Like, there's no way we would forget this birthday. Like, and I love the nanny fam, and so does Carter. If it were just us, I think Carter would actually think about it. But it was, like, the other people that are going to be there that, it, like, would be weird. And after we're married, like, we do want it to be special. But it's, like, now we're with, like, all of their friends. You know what I mean? But nanny dad goes, greatest line I ever said, or you ever said. And then nanny mom Oh, she just asked, is this legit or not? And I was like, okay, I'll get back to you. And then me and Carter talked about it that night. That was Friday night. And he was like, no. We both were like, and I kind of thought about it later too. And I was the one who broached it. I was like, it's funny and it's hilarious and it would be fun and cool, but like it is our marriage and he's way more sentimental than I am. Therefore, I'm like, I don't want to make him not upset, but I don't want to make him do something that like he's not 100% in. And he's like, yeah, like it's hilarious and funny and iconic and like they're amazing. And that's so kind of them for like, because they were talking about already getting a wedding cake. Like they would basically do it all. But he's like, I just like, again, would rather be us two. And I'm like, no, I get it. Like if we are going to do something, I was like, okay. But like literally you guys for like 24 or 48 hours I didn't post on my Instagram story because I'm like people are gonna think I'm actually batshit insane. Like that is crazy now running it back. Well, I texted my best friend Natalie. I was like, oh my gosh, I think we're gonna get married. And she said, bitch, what? And I asked her if she was free. And then the next day I said, scratch that. We're not getting married. But that was Thursday and Friday. Saturday, I feel like we actually had something going on. Oh no, Carter ditched me all day. Actually, well, he asked me to go to the shooting range, but like I just don't. Like I've shot so many guns in my life, like it's just not my thing. And he just wants to practice and keep up with it. That way and it's a smart thing to do and I should as well. But I'm like, no, not really. We went on a walk in the morning. I'm sure we got a coffee and then I was like, ask your best friend. And so they went out, had a whole day. I just hung out. And then that night, I got a Stars tickets. We went to the Stars game, which was so fun. And you guys, it was Stars fan appreciation night because it was the last game of the year. Our singular row, we won 2 Stanley water bottles. Everybody in the row, we were like section 122, row R. We all got Stanley water bottles. They're sick. They're nice. I'll post them on my story. But it was so much fun. And I'm so glad we went because we haven't been to a game in so long. And yeah, that was Saturday. Okay, moving on to Sunday. Oh my gosh, wait, I totally forgot about Friday morning. Carter's doctor's appointment finally rolled around. And I think I told you guys about this. I just need to assume that I've told you guys everything. It's funny because I feel like you guys know more about me than my friends, which we'll get into. Oh my gosh, I have ops in my family. Anywho, however, Friday morning we had Carter's doctor's appointment and I wasn't planning on going with him, but it was at 8:20 and he had to be there at 8:05. And when he's running late, like typically I'll drive Carter to work because we share a car if I need the car. But there are some days where he's like running late and he's like, can you please drop me? Because it's like so much quicker because he has underground parking and so on and so forth. And he obviously had the address to the place, but it was a little bit like it was on the 3rd floor of like a building with like a small parking lot and we weren't really sure the situation. And he was like, do you want to drive me? And I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to sit there then and wait, because then I'm going to take you to work. Like, what do I do in the meantime? Which is fine. So we go to his doctor's appointment and I come in with him and we're sitting in the room, the waiting room. And I'm like, am I going to sit out here or should I just go in with you? And he's like, just come in with me. Like, what, you're going to sit out here? And I'm like, I guess, but I feel like I'm a mother taking my child to the doctor. Well, the nurse calls us back and he goes and sits on the little thing and I sit in a little chair and she like doesn't speak to me, which like, totally fair. I'm not the client, but there was a point she's asking him a bunch of questions and like Carter, again, men, like he just, things leave his mind. And his mom literally called a few days prior and she was giving us her health history or her family's health history because we told her that he has his doctor's appointment and they always ask. Well, the nurse, she's sitting there and she's talking to Carter and she's like, what's your mom's health history? And he's like, oh, he's like looking up. He's like, oh my gosh, she literally just told me. So I jump in and I'm like, oh, she has this, this, and this. And I'm not kidding you guys. This nurse looked over at me like, bitch, what the fuck? Like, I don't know if she thought like I am like an overbearing fiance or like, I don't know what was going through her head, but she was so annoyed that I spoke. And I'm like, I know the answer. Like I talk to his mom all the time. We just spoke to her. He can't remember. I'm like, okay, zip it. Right. And then she left and Carter was like, what the fuck was that? And I'm like, no, I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, the doctor comes in, or the PA, and she's amazing, and she recommends like so many other doctors. She's like a derm, because Carter has this freckle on his nose that's pretty big, and it's always been there since I've known him. Well, she asked, and that's the other thing. She was speaking to both of us, and she asked him like how long it's been there, and he looks at me, and I'm like, well, babe, I've only known you for 2 years. It's been there for 2 years. And he's like, I have no clue like how long. He's like, it's been there for as long as I can remember. And she's like, do you have photos, do you think? But it's like right on the side of his nose, so like all of the photos you couldn't really tell. But she recommended a derm, and then he was talking about his ankle, so she recommended a PT, and then she also recommended an ENT. Carter honestly might get a nose job. I don't think that's ideal, but he has a deviated septum that like when you can like, it's so bad, and he doesn't necessarily snore, and it's fine because she asked me that, but like he's got some issues, and his nose is crooked because I think he did break it as a child. But anyways, that was fun. And then I dropped him off, and he got blood work done and a shot, and oh my gosh, we're sitting in the lobby, right? And he has to fill out his e-check-in, and he's going through so on and so forth. And then it asks, do you have any sexual partners? Yes. And then the next question was like, what kind of birth control or what kind of protection are you using? So then he looks at me, and I'm like, oh, well, I have an IUD. So he put IUD, right? Because it like followed up, that question, are you sexually active, like same partner? And then it was like, what protection are you using? And like, that's what we put, right? Or like, what are you, is there birth control? I don't remember, but like I said, I have an IUD. We get in, and that nurse that was like a bitch to me, like she made like such a big joke. She's like, you don't have an IUD, do you? And he's like, no, obviously not, my fucking fiance over here. And she's like, well, it's asking like what? And he was like, no, it literally just stated like what kind of protection. And she's sitting right next to me, and she has an IUD. Like, if you know on the thing that I'm a male and that I can't have an IUD, like why is that even on? Like, I understand, but then just put like condoms or no condoms. Like, it had all of the birth control options, and like no fucking shit he doesn't. But like she like kind of made him the butt of the joke, and she's like, oh my gosh, I've never seen that. Like, you have an IUD. Meanwhile, she's being a cunt to me. I'm like, it's like really not that funny. And the way that it was worded was weird. Like, I would have done the same thing if I were in his shoes. Anyways, that was weird. And then she said it again, because she came in, then the doctor, then she came back in to do the blood, and like she mentioned it again, and I'm like, okay, I get it, but I don't get it. Anywho, that was the doctor. Sunday, we finally, you guys, and actually last week, my very good friend Jared set me up with an agent at Smart City, because I've been like in this apartment townhome situation, and there is a set of townhomes that I love. Okay, and I've known about these forever because I used to do this job, and like I keep my eye on it, but I wasn't sure with Carter if he would like the location and so on and so forth. But anyways, I reach out, I get this agent. She puts together a list of apartments that, like, to be fair, I already know of, right? I did this job, but I was just, honestly, I got her because I was hoping that she could break into the private sector, like private rentals where it's like landlords, because Smart City, when I was there, was just apartments and like management companies, but now they do like private rentals. Well, apparently that is divided. They have people that do the apartments and people that do the private. She didn't do the private. I was like, oh, well, that's kind of what I was looking for. But she's so kind. I know her. She worked there when I worked there. And anyway, she just had a baby, so she's only taking on like referrals, which amazing, whatever. But I'm like, okay, yeah, I know of all these apartments. But I talked to her, and she's like, well, private rentals, like you don't know what your landlord's going to be like, and you have to do this, this, and this. And she was honestly kind of like making it seem like we shouldn't go that direction, which I'm like, I get what you're saying, and it's nothing new, but I don't know. But I didn't want to say, yeah, actually, I don't want you. Give me somebody else, because I felt bad. But anywho, Sunday, we go on a walk, and of course, we're talking about money. We're talking about the loans. We're talking about moving, all of these things. And Carter's like, okay, when we get home, let's, number one, nail down what apartment we want. And number two, let's do the wedding. Let's like figure out where we want to go at the very least. We did not do that. Okay. Side note, did not do that. But we did. I showed him the list, or like we pulled up just a map of Dallas. I was like, okay, where are you okay living with? Like, what's this? What's that? And then I pulled up this property that I really love with the townhomes. And he's like, oh my God, these are amazing. He's like, I love these. And there are a few different kinds and styles. And so basically, again, I've explained this to you. Our lease isn't up until August, and it'll just depend like what's available. Right now, we can only see through mid-June because it's April, or like mid to late June. Of course, there are some July apartments because people give in their notice like right away, but it's due by 60 days. Therefore, it has to be given to the apartment 60 days prior. And that means that we won't really know until June. Like technically our lease is up August 5th. So like June 5th, but like around that time. But things could pop up earlier. Therefore, I kind of just need to keep my eye on it. And honestly, I might call or go over there today and talk to them. That way, if there's a way they can let me know when things come on the market. And then it'll just depend on like which property and the cost and all of that. But I'm really excited because Carter was okay with it. And it's like a home. And one of my biggest things, you guys, which I don't think I ever talk about, this dog that's sitting right next to me snoring loves sitting in the sun. Okay, she loves to sunbathe. And when I lived in that mansion, obviously there were windows everywhere. I'm not kidding. I had like 5 beds in different spots in the house where the sun like hit at different times. So they were all organized that way she could move from bed to bed to bed, and she would move from bed to bed to bed wherever the sun was. Like when we would go out, we'd go into the yard and then she'd come back and then sit in that bed because the sun was there. She loves the sun. This apartment, we barely get sun. It like hits at like 5 p.m. only in the summer months. And I'm like, oh my God, a townhome. Like there's more windows and there will be light. And some of these townhomes have a rooftop. And I'm really, really hoping and praying that we get one of those because then we can sit on the roof. Oh my gosh, even just for my own enjoyment, like reading. Oh, that would be incredible. I'm trying not to get my hopes up because we just won't know until then. But anywho. Okay, we finally figured out the apartment situation, and that was that. Oh, and cutie Carter has been looking forward to my birthday. And a few months ago, Carter had a business dinner at this place called the Sushi Bar. And I think it's like semi downtown. I'm not really sure, to be honest, but it's like an omakase, which, do I know what that means? No. But what I think that means is like, basically what the sushi bar is, Carter was explaining to me. You go in and it's like one of those situations where it's like the chef's in the middle and then you just have like a bar around it and that's it. So the most amount of people that can be in there is like 10. Like it's so small, it's so intimate, and then there are only like 2 time frames. Like it's like a show. Like you get there and then what they do is they have 16 courses, but like it's not an actual meal. It's like one piece of like sushi or like, you know, those like thicker, like where it's like the salmon on top, not necessarily sushi, but like sashimi or like different, just like little bites, right? There's 16 different ones. So you go in and he was telling me he was with his 2 buddies or like 2 business, or maybe there's 4 of them. Oh yeah, I think that was a different business thing. And you sit there and then they explain like the making of it. There's like 3 guys in the center and they make it and then they give it to you. You eat it and then there's like a little bit of time. They wait for everybody to finish and talk and then they start on the next one. And it's like right there in front of your face and they explain. It's like this experience. But you guys, it's like, I know the deposit was $100. I think it's like almost $200 per person. So Carter came home and he was like, babe, this was the most insane thing ever. But it was like a business expense. Like he was able, like that was, he didn't pay his own money for that. But he's like, we have to go. And I'm like, okay, I love that. I'm there. I bet I'm going to die for it. But like $200 per person plus gratuity, like we're going to drop $500. I'm just like, okay, let's like wait for an occasion. Right? Well, Carter, he already reserved. He like came home from work last week and he's like, okay, babe, I have your birthday because it's a Friday too. So like it's perfect. And unfortunately, my very best friend, Natalie, has her dance show. It's always on my birthday week. She always, so it's like rehearsal and then dance, and the show was on Friday and I won't be able to be with her. So I'm like, if I can't be with my very best friend, I'm not going to do like a big thing with other people, obviously. So I'm like, okay, you and I, let's do something. So he reserved us 2 spots for the sushi bar and I'm so excited. And he keeps bringing it up. He's like, babe, you're going to absolutely love this. It's like the best sushi I've ever had. It was incredible. So that's what we have going on in a couple of weeks. I'm so excited for that. Oh my gosh, you guys, it was me and Carter's 2-year anniversary. I didn't even talk about it last Friday. That was such a miss, but it was this Tuesday, April 15th, which it was the day that I met Carter, a day that those TikToks started where I met Carter. We played pickleball, and that's just what we count as our anniversary because you guys know we were hot and heavy ever since then. But holy shit, it feels like that's insane. It's been 2 years. But then when I'm with Carter, I feel like I've been with him for 10 years. I'm like, it's been 2 years. So then, of course, like on the day before, on Monday night, I was like, oh my gosh, babe, like 2 years ago, I was in my little apartment at the 23, me and Maydog. I was like excited. I had a date the next morning. Like, Carter had texted me that Friday night before. He had played pickleball with his friends, and he sent me this little text. It was like, I'm warming up, or like he said something, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what a memory. Presh, we didn't do anything at all. I think Carter ordered food and I had yogurt, but like we just sat there and reminisced, which was amazing. And what else happened this week? Oh, I talked to my brother. Okay. I talked to my brother. And I think we're going to run a 10K in October, which a 10K, y'all, is 6 miles, which like if you're not a runner, you're like, holy shit, that's a lot. It's really not a lot. Like I could run 6 miles today. Now it would be slow and I would be dead afterwards, but like I could do it. And October is like what? We're in April, May, June, July, August, September, October. It's literally half a year from now. Like a training program for a 10K is like probably not that many weeks, but my brother has had a few injuries because you guys know he does marathons and like serious long runs. So he's just trying to work his way back up into that. And he also bikes and swims and does triathlon. So he was like, I was thinking about doing this 10K. And we did this same event, but the 10-mile race back in 2019. And it was so fun. And the day of the race is my brother's birthday on October 4th. Therefore, it would be so fun to go and bring Carter. It would be his first time in Minneapolis. And then go to maybe a Vikings game. And just like, I'm sure if we told my dad that he would come, maybe they would bring LaDon and Gordy. I don't know, in their old age if they want to make that drive. But I'm really excited. And I want to I love doing these things with my brother, which when we run the race, he's not going to run with me. Again, he's like way fucking faster than I am. But still, just like seeing him and Ashley and like hanging out, because I didn't see that man for like 2.5 years from this last Christmas, and I want to be better about that, and I think it would just be cute and fun and fresh. So I think we're going to do that. Basically, it just depends on how my brother is feeling. He has these injuries. He's going to do like a 5K, I think, in a few months. And with races, like the tickets open, and then like let's say, so it's October. Early registration was like January to March. So it's like a lower price. And then from April to June, it's a certain price. And then the closer you get, it gets more expensive because they're allotting for like a certain amount of numbers, you know, and like being more last minute, they just like upcharge. So this current period that we're in, I think the price goes up like at the end of June. So he was like, let's, you know, wait it out. Let's see how we're feeling. And then we could decide then. And then that way we can hit the registration before it gets like to the next tier or whatever. So we won't like finalize it. He's going to see how he's feeling. And then, yeah, so the end of June, we'll know for sure. And then I can train for something because I've been loving my running. But like when I don't have something to look forward to, number one, it's like I don't need to go faster. I'm not like training for anything, but it's so easy to fall off because like I don't have anything I'm shooting for. Whereas if I lock in a date, like I have to run, you know what I mean? So it would just be good. And like I do like having goals and things to shoot for. So that's that. Okay, what's next? Oh, number one, I did not buy anything at the Sephora sale. I literally was going to go on Tuesday and it was April 15th. The sale ended the 14th. I don't know. There was nothing that I needed that like spoke to me. Therefore, I didn't go and I didn't buy anything, which is honestly better. But I remember I mentioned it and then I was like, bitch, you didn't even buy anything. Anywho. And also, it has become clear that I have ops in my family. And I want to discuss this. And if you guys are listening right now, get the fuck out of here. I'm not kidding you guys. Yesterday, 2 people from my family brought things up to me that apparently I posted on social media that they heard from other people, and they were both not factual. Not only do I have ops that are listening to me, they're not even telling the truth. Y'all, I wake up yesterday, I call LaDonna. We catch up. Oh my gosh, another thing about LaDonna that I wanted to tell you. Remember on my story when I told you guys that the cleaning lady got me? I might have mentioned this last week. Oh shit, I might have already mentioned this. The cleaning lady gave me this treat to give me. Like a big, she always gives her like little treats, but like this specialized like cake that she must have bought somewhere. Okay, this little treat. And I texted it to LaDonna, and LaDonna's like, you can't move, because I've been telling her about like the moving chronicles and so on and so forth. She's like, Brenna, you can't move. Like, what is May gonna do without the cleaning lady giving her treats? Which killed me. But anyways, back to yesterday. This is a serious conversation, and I don't give a shit if my family is listening or not. But LaDonna and I are speaking, and then she says something. We're talking about a situation, and she's like, well, this person said that you said on your podcast, so on and so forth. And I share a lot with you guys, but I am also very cognizant of things that I should and should not share, because like my family and like Carter and Carter's family, like there are things that I just wouldn't share that are like nobody's business. And I am aware of that. Like as much as I do share, and I share a fucking lot, there are things that don't need to be shared. And I think about those things. And LaDonna was like, this person said this, that you said this. And I'm thinking back, and I'm like, they might have been able to put 2 and 2 together because they know me personally and the characters that I'm talking about. But I'm like, how are you? And okay, let's move on to the second. My mother, she calls me last night, and she's like, hey, whatever. And my uncle had just showed up. I was like, okay, Mom, can I call you tomorrow? Like, now's not a really good time. Carter was sitting here working, so on and so forth. And she's like, well, I just have some questions for you because, so-and-so said they heard on your TikTok that this, and this. And well, no, she's like, I just have questions because and I'm like, okay, whatever. Well, she ended up calling me back. I don't remember for what. I was like, what were you going to ask me? Because then it was like impending doom. I'm like, is this going to be the same thing that LaDonna was saying? No, my mom's like, so you guys planned your elopement trip? And I'm like, no. And she's like, oh, well, so-and-so said that you said on your TikTok. I'm like, well, that is just straight up not true because we have not even a single thing planned. I'm like, what the fuck? And here is my issue with it. I get it. I post online. I post on social media. I have this podcast. I share things, right? I am speaking to all of you out there that are not in my actual life. I hope one day I meet you guys. I hope that like that would be amazing. And I feel like we are friends, but like this is the first example. Like my very best friends, Natalie, do you think she's listening to my podcast? No. And why the fuck would she? Carter's mother? No. Why would they listen to my podcast? They know me. I speak to them. They know what's actually going on in my life. Like I share with you guys, yes, but there are these like small things that I obviously like don't share because like in the off chance that like thousands of people listen, like, you know what I'm saying? You guys will understand. It's just kind of odd. Like of course some of my friends and family see like my Instagram reels and this and that, but like to keep up with my life, you like speak to me. So these are like family members that I like don't speak to, that I haven't spoken to in a really long time, that are like apparently listening to the podcast and keeping up online. I'm like, speak to me, call me. Like that is like so odd to me. And then I think it's pissing me off because they were both not true and things that I did not say. I'm like, we have not done this. But I look at Carter, I'm like, I have literal ops in my family. And like, I don't want to like have to, and I'm not going to because I don't give a shit. If anything, I'm going to start spewing lies on here. That way they think things are going on. Because like, what the fuck are we talking about? It's just like, I don't know. That's weird to me. Like if I had a cousin out there who was like, posting online if I don't really talk to that person, like I'm not going to go on the list. I don't know. Like it just like, it's weird. Like, wouldn't you rather speak to me? Like, wouldn't you rather like catch up? Like we are literal family, but like we've never had a relationship. Like these characters are like people that like, I don't like if I see them, I will speak to them. But other than that, like there's not a relationship. So I'm like, that's so odd. But anyways, I literally, you guys, here's the thing with my notes app. I like put just like kind of like spark notes. Like I don't put out my full thought obviously because I talk on here, but like this one just says, I have ops in my family. That was my most recent one. Okay, anywho. Ow! Speaking of, this weekend, I'm hoping to see my bestie Natalie. Guess what? Last weekend, they went and looked at venues, wedding venues. And honestly, I just want to know the price. Like, I don't even give a shit about anything else. I'm just dying to talk to her to hear what the quotes are. And I will relay back to you. I'll ask her if that's okay that I'm sharing this information. But like, why the fuck would she care? But I texted her last night, and my friend has been like going through it through work, and she didn't have like, she's like, I cannot FaceTime right now. I've been like crying all day. I've been stressed, mental breakdown. I'm like, no girl, you got it. Love you. You're doing great, queen. But they went to 2 venues last weekend and then 1 on Tuesday. And I think they might have another one tomorrow. And therefore I want to like see her and catch up about all of these other things. But then the wedding venues. But she sent me a selfie of them, which was so precious, at like this winery. And she's like, oh my gosh, we love this. So I'm excited to hear like what they like, what they don't like. But they're just like the cutest little cuties. They're like mom and dad. I've told you guys, these 2 have been together now for like 3 years at least, I think, maybe almost 4. So therefore in like my single era and like guys that I dated, like they were like the ones like if I would, you know, when Carter and I started dating, of course we went on a mini golf date together. I'm like, what do you guys think? Like this is the one. And before Carter, when I was just single, like the 3 of us would do things and I just loved them. And they were my very, very, very best friends. Oh, can we talk about something else? I see this narrative. And I think maybe it's because I don't have like real deep trauma, and like nobody really in my life does. But I always see this conversation online about like girls are like, you shouldn't be sharing my business with your partner. I'm sorry. When I'm telling Natalie anything in my life, I'm like, okay, relay this to Ryan. Right? Like make sure Ryan knows. And then that way when I'm with them, like I'm always like, I'll jump into a conversation and I'll look at Ryan. I'm like, do you know this? Or like, do I need to catch you up? And he's like, I know. And I'm like, perfect. Like that to me. And like, again, if you have something like super traumatic and like personal and private, I get that. And like, yeah, I don't know why you would delve or divulge that information to your partner, I suppose. But like nothing in my or my bestie's life is anything like that is that crazy. Therefore, like we tell our partners everything, you know. I know this might be the hot take, but I see a lot of content around this and people are like so adamant, like you don't share those things. Like I'm telling you, not your partner. And I guess, yeah, if it's like, but even still, like if it's a boy, I just don't give a shit. Clearly, I'm here on a podcast telling you guys every single thing that happens in my life. Obviously, I don't have a sharing problem. Maybe that's it. Maybe the disconnect is just me. Okay, that makes more sense now that I'm putting 2 and 2 together. Okay. But I see that conversation a lot. I'm like, oh, I don't care. And neither does my best friend though. Like Natalie's the same way. And she's like, we're with Carter, which they haven't seen Carter in so long, but like she knows like not like if it's not relevant information, but if like something's going on, like, yeah, I'm probably not talking to him about it, but if it gets brought up, I'll tell. Like she's going through all of this work drama. Like I've been talking to Carter about it because it's just so relevant, like dealing with, you know, coworkers and so on and so forth. Like I don't know why that would be like hidden information, but anywho, love them. Okay, let's talk about current events. Should we make that? I thought about making like things on TikTok that piss me off, which have to do with me and my own account. But then I was thinking about like, I'm trying to take notes from other podcasts that I do not listen to. And I see clips of the Toast, which I only know who these people are because of TikTok in like a recent year. Like apparently the Toast has been around since like forever, and they do like daily episodes. I need to like listen, but I see clips because I follow one of them. I follow the dark haired one, and she'll like repost their clips, and I think they're hilarious. But they talk about current events, and like that just will never be me because, for example, these bitches going to space, I don't care. I literally could not give one less singular fuck about this Blue Origin thing. And actually, this whole thing, and basically I've just been seeing discourse about Katy Perry, and now I'm seeing people, and again, honestly, like I could get canceled left and right on this podcast, but like people are in outrage about the funds. I think Jeff Bezos does it. Is it his company? I'm not really sure. Again, I need to do more research, and this is why I don't feel comfortable speaking, because I'm not like a journalist. It's his company, or he paid like tons and tons of money, and people are like, we're spending this much money to send these bitches into space for like 2 seconds, and then that's that. Here is the thing. Rich people super, super, super wealthy people like Jeff Bezos, like, have so much fucking money. And yes, could they do a lot of good things? Like, but here is the other thing. Like, people act like, okay, Brenna, reel it back in. Here's the thing. Rich people are going to spend an exorbitant amount of money on things. Like, no matter what you say, no matter what we say, like, these things are going to happen. There's always been something. It's like the fucking people that died in the submarine. Like, those people spent how much money? It's like, why would you spend money? And like, how people choose to spend their money. Oh, hot take, because I was talking about the payment plans at Coachella, which we're going to talk about. But like, well, I just like, that's never going to get me upset. Yes. Could they do a lot of good things with that? I was going to say, like, people say like they could wipe away like homelessness. I don't even know what that looks like. That's too like big thinking for me. Like, I don't know how the fuck you do that or like what you do, but like, I understand what they're saying, like charities, and like that money could go to something else. I'm there, but it's like, these things are going to happen. Rich people like that, like wealth, like, what do you even call that? That's not a rich person. Like Jeff Bezos has billions of dollars. They're going to do crazy fucking things. Okay. And that's just that. Like, I just can't like be here getting up in our, like, yep, it happened. Is it stupid? Sure. But like, it is what it is. And here's the thing where I'm confused about it. Carter and I, like a month ago, watched a woman YouTube channel person who is like in the space realm. I don't remember what she does, but she was doing this exact thing. I think it was Blue Origin. She was going up into space and she documented the whole thing. And it was so fucking cool. Like, we watched this YouTube video. I have no idea who it is. She's never popped up before, but like, she documented her going up into space. It's been like her biggest dream. They sit in this thing. Like, she was in there. They've got to like get up and like float around. And then they came back home. And like, she was so grateful. And like, she has dreamed of this forever. And like, her family was there and she had kids. And like, she was like showing her daughter that like women can do these things and so on and so forth. And I thought it was like really great and moving. I never once thought about like the cost associated. Like these things are going to happen. And actually, I saw a TikTok about how now like these brand trips, literally, this is psychotic, but somebody was like, it's going to be like, who's the first brand trip to take people to space? Like, these things just like happen. And like, I just will never be bothered. Like, yes, could I be up in arms and angry about like these funds could go out? There are so many, there is so much money being spent in like wrong places. Like, no person that has billions of dollars needs half of the things to spend half of the money that they're spending, but like, they're gonna do, like, I don't know what the answer is to that. Like, I don't know what you expect that, like, to happen. I don't know. It just like doesn't really, like, I'm seeing all of these clips and it just like doesn't bother me that much. And maybe I'm the problem, which typically I am, but like, oh, so the reason I brought this up is I saw the Toast were talking about it. And I know that's what they do, but like, I just don't know enough information. I don't really give a shit. We watched this YouTube video like before I even knew that this whole kid, like, this was like at least a month ago, if not months ago. And I'm pretty sure it was the same thing. I like just didn't even think about it. Like, yeah, this is something that's like gonna start happening. And like, yes, could that money be used elsewhere? Do people need to go into space for 2 fucking seconds? No, but like, you won't see me. I just like don't get up in arms about much. However, okay, wait, the TikTok controversy that I'm in this week. Speaking of not giving a shit how people spend their money, well, here's the thing, and I don't need to explain myself to anybody. You guys know I'm a big finance bitch, and I don't want people to be in debt. Okay. Therefore, Carter and I were sitting on the couch this weekend and he read to me this article about how like more than 50% of people that went to Coachella, general admission, used a payment plan to go. Okay, like Klarna and Afterpay, which is what I thought. And I'm now learning different things. But I then got on TikTok and I'm like, did you guys see this fucking article about how over 50% of Coachella goers used a payment plan to go? Well, it kind of went viral. It's like not at 1 million views yet, but like almost. I said, what the fuck? Like, I didn't even comment on it. I'm just like, did you see that? Like, that's fucking crazy. Because what I was assuming, and I think there's two different, and I have so many thoughts on this that I want to like just like go off on TikTok, but like, it's not worth it. And I don't deeply care. However, I was thinking that it was like an Afterpay, like people are just like going, you know, a week or two before, which I think is an option, going on there using like a payment plan, like an Afterpay, a financing situation to go to Coachella, because they are expensive. I get that. Okay. But that's crazy. That is debt, right? That is debt that you are taking on. And here is the thing, like, people are just making so many points that are like missing the mark. They're like, what's the difference of a credit card? Like, if I can pay it off, like, what's the difference? And I'm like, if you can pay it off, just like pay for it or put it on the credit card. Like, I understand that financing is 0%. Okay. But that doesn't matter if you can actually pay it off. If your credit card, if you put it on there and can pay it off right away, which I'm understanding what those people are saying is, no, they can't pay it off right now. They can pay it off over months. And they're like, what's wrong with budgeting it or like putting it into my budget? And it's like, why couldn't you 6 months prior to when the tickets drop, save up that same amount? Like, it still is like, if you cannot outright buy it. And again, people like, I was being called like classist and like privileged, and I was given a silver spoon, which is hysterical because you guys know me. If anybody has never been given a silver spoon, it's me. Thank you very much. So thankfully these things don't like hurt me or like, and whatever, people just like get up in arms. But I'm like, I just don't think you should be, if you can't afford tickets, like if you couldn't save up prior, you know, $100 a month, 6 months prior, it's like $600, I think, general admission. If you couldn't do that, like, I don't think you should be going. And people are like, I put it on the payment plan, so then I don't, like, what if I have an emergency come up? It's like, yeah, I'm saying you should have an emergency fund. Like, every single person should have an emergency fund. And then you can also, but like, here is the thing. When I was in college, right, there were things I wanted to do. I wanted to go to a wild game, right? I wanted to go to Minneapolis and do fun things. Number one, I had a full-time job as a full-time student. I then got 2 other jobs. I bartended and I also helped that guy let out his dogs. Like, I worked more to make more money. Therefore, I could pay for the things. Like, it freaks me out that debt is so normalized and these financing things. And like, oh my gosh, DoorDash and Uber Eats now have Klarna and like Afterpay. It's just like, they are preying on people. Like, they are like literally, and oh, this is what everybody was saying. They're like, just because I'm poor doesn't mean I shouldn't be able to have fun. And it's like, no, of course not. But like, can we maybe go next year? Can we put a budget? Can you maybe get a second job? I get it's not ideal. I get it. That, do you think when I was in college and I had 3 jobs and I literally didn't have a life, I didn't go out to eat, I didn't do anything, that was like fun? No, but it's like what you have to do, unfortunately. Like, it's like the victim sort of like, well, the economy and like this, which is true, which is fact. Things are fucking expensive. It's crazy, but like, there are options. Like, I get it. No, nobody wants to work 80 hours a week on 2 or 3 jobs, but like, that's what I did when I needed money in college. Like, it's what you have to do. I just think so many people bitch and complain, but then don't do anything about it. And I understand, no, it's not fun. It's not the great thing you want to do, but like, if you want to afford things, and like, that is the other thing. Like, yeah, you had 2 days at Coachella where you're having fun. And now after this, you're now in more debt. You have these huge payments, and like, that affects your quality of life more than those 2 days at Coachella, in my opinion. Okay, I don't need to preach to you guys. And I know that people get like really up in arms. And then of course everybody's like, why do you care? And I'm like, I just want people to like not be in debt. Like, really, I'm trying to be a nice person. I just think it's crazy. And I think it's so normalized. And I think young people, if you're a young person with no financial guidance, and like, there are things like Klarna and Afterpay, and like, there were people commenting, like, a girl was like, I put my $30 Shein order on Klarna. And I'm like, oh my, like, that's crazy. That is crazy. And I don't think that's an opinion. It is an opinion, but it's like also a fact. Like, the financing situation, it's just like, I have been in a place, thank God I've never been in like credit card debt. Thank God never been in Klarna or Afterpay debt. But again, I worked a million jobs. It's not I'm not privileged. I worked my fucking ass off. And like, I just think, I've never been in like debt because I've done that, right? But I think about money still to this day, and we have money, like that anxiety. And I'm definitely not the only one with this. I just like young people, a 19-year-old that wants to go to Coachella and is like, oh my God, I can put this on a payment plan, who has no financial. What if that person loses their job? Now you're in collections or you miss a payment. Like, I just think overall, it's just not a good idea. It's just not good financing things like that. Like we should then work out like how to make more money or like, budget better and like not spend so much. So then we can work those things in prior and then pay for it outright. Like, oh, I just like didn't think it would be that fucking crazy. But of course, like then everybody's like, festivals have been doing this for forever. I'm like, okay, I'm not sure what that has to do with anything that I said. I said it's fucking crazy that over 50% of people put it on a payment plan. Yeah, I understand that not everybody's rich, but like if you want to do something, it's like saving up for a vacation. It's like families that like both, a dual income that work normal jobs. Like when you have children and you want to go on vacation, you save money, you have your budget, you have this little pocket where you put the money you save. That way then you can go on vacation. It's the same thing, right? Like then save prior and then you can buy the Coachella tickets. I just like didn't realize it was going to be so controversial, but I have people in my comments popping the fuck and then everybody's like, why do you care how I use my money? It's like, I don't. Of course you can do whatever you want. And that's the thing. I'm like, you're so up in arms about this. Like, I don't know why it was so triggering. Why was it so triggering to you? However, okay, I don't give a shit. Like if that's what you're doing, but like, I don't think it's the wise thing to do. I think, hello, if you could pay for it outright, if you could just budget before it, that's the wise thing to do, in my opinion. Anywho, I think that's all I have. I have 2 little questions / stories that I wanted to say from the write-ins. Okay, let's start with the first one. Hi, Brenna. I'm struggling with setting boundaries as a natural giver, especially when I'm surrounded by people who seem to take a lot. One example is a close friend of mine who is getting married this year, and her wedding is happening on my parents' farm. While this is a huge ask, I was happy to help because she's a close friend. As someone whose love language is acts of service, I've taken on even more by planning and hosting the bachelorette party, putting together a thoughtful wedding gift, and more. However, I feel that my time and effort are going unappreciated and unacknowledged. In our friendship, I've always given a lot, my time, attention, and emotional support, but it doesn't feel like she does the same for me. I'm starting to feel really resentful, and I'm not sure how to communicate these feelings. I don't want these negative emotions to ruin the experience of the bachelorette or the wedding, though. I understand that I teach people how much they can take from me by not setting clear boundaries, but I'm struggling with how to draw the line now. I love giving without expecting anything in return, but the lack of gratitude is really starting to hurt. How can I do the inner work to set healthy boundaries, release expectations, and ease the resentment so that I can fully enjoy these special moments without carrying this weight? Should I bring this up with her? And if so, what should I say to express my feelings without causing tension? XO, resentful bridesmaid. Oh, this is the thing with boundaries is like, you are 100% valid to like change your mind and like put up boundaries. But I've talked about this before. I feel like it's so much harder after the fact, especially like you're in the midst of planning this wedding. I wonder when it is because, yeah, that's, ugh. I would, damn, like me, I would like suck it up and just like get through it and then create clear boundaries after. I feel like if she already has not been super grateful and like expressed that, then like she is kind of taking advantage of your kindness. And the reason like I would suck it up is because I'm not sure what you can now say that would change things. Like I'm not sure what somebody would say to make her grateful, or like it's similar to when you have like a boyfriend and like you want to like have him do something and then like you want him to just do it, and the second you have to ask, it's like, okay, now you're just doing it. It's like, can you compliment me more? And then they start complimenting you and it's like, oh, I had to fucking ask. Like I feel like if you have that conversation, you're like, can you just like say thank you? And she's like, thank you. It's like you need to like actually see that from their heart, and the fact that it's not coming kind of sucks. And I feel like that friendship, it should be a natural thing. But I will say, like, oftentimes with people like you, which is a lot of women out there, I think that you can have a conversation with her. I'm not exactly sure what that looks like, because like I don't want you to come at her like and be like, I'm doing this and this for you. Oh, sorry you guys, 1 second, Carter is calling. Do you want me to keep it on the line? Hi, Tootsie Pop.
Hey, love bug.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. What are you up to?
I'm filming the podcast.
Oh, wow.
Let me send you our French queen. She's right next to me.
Holy cow. A big hitter.
Big
Of
hitter.
course.
What are you doing?
I am working.
Oh, twerking.
Oh, she's pissed out. She said, I took a sip of that Coke Cherry and I'm done.
Okay, where were we? I'm not really sure, but I know that we were talking about the bridesmaid, and yeah, I'm just like, I always go into these things thinking about what's gonna come of it, and I think like I'm curious what a response would be, and I don't even know how you broach that because like, what are you asking for? Like her to say thank you? Like, how is she to give back because she's like the one getting married? Like, there's just not much, of course, some people would like give gifts or like say thank you a million times. I think that unfortunately, and this is what girlies always talk about, is like weddings always bring out the worst and best of like friends and things because you see kind of like in a high stress situation where you're thinking about like she's probably just a little bit selfish, which of course she's planning a wedding. Like I don't want to like shit on her. There's so much going on, but also like if my bestie were doing a million things for me and like allowing, I would say thank you, thank you, thank you, and like do everything for them. So I feel like there was already probably like a one-sided situation going on. I think that yeah, you can have a conversation, but I would just afterwards maybe pull back a little bit, like create. It sounds like you've thought about this a lot and you know what you're talking about, creating some boundaries and like whatever that looks like for you. These are all individual. Like if yeah she never reaches out, you're the one always planning things, take a step back and see if they do, and like I think it'll really show you who's in your life. But I'm thinking about you and that stinks because nothing's worse than feeling like underappreciated, especially when you're doing so much, especially for somebody's big day. I'm thinking of you. Message me and let me know how this pans out. We can discuss more. But going on to the last story. Hi, Brenna. Sorry if I'm repeating myself. She accidentally submitted it twice. I'm sorry. I'm just realizing that now. But anywho, okay. So I wanted to submit again just to make sure it wasn't an error on my part. I know you're not a traditional bride and aren't having a bachelor party, but I was hoping you could get some advice all the time. What? But was hoping you could get some advice all the same. Give some advice, but it says get. Sorry, sorry, sorry. Okay, okay, okay. My dilemma is, am I wrong for being upset with my friend for going to see her brother on my bachelorette trip? My bachelorette party is in 2 weeks, and I'm just finding out one of my friends is using my trip as a way to see her brother. For context, I, 27 female, am from the Midwest and chose my bachelorette location as Des Moines, Iowa, because for 5 people in my wedding party, it was a 4-hour drive or less. One of the girls is from Nashville and one is from South Carolina, and both of those two would have to fly regardless. Upon choosing this location, I told my friend that I did not expect them there until Friday morning at the latest, but that the party would start Thursday. I told them they didn't need to be there until Friday morning in case they didn't have enough vacation time to get there on Thursday, or for the two with the flights, it was going to be cheaper to fly there early Friday morning, whatever. When talking to my matron of honor this week, I find out that oh, Brenna, you're literally dumb as fuck. I found out that my friend from South Carolina is getting there Thursday, but will not be joining us until Friday morning because she's going to see her brother and spend Thursday with him. For further context, she and I only see each other once a year for a 2 to 3 day girls trip, and we haven't seen each other in 7 months. Whereas she sees her brother 3 to 4 times a year, and last time saw him at Christmas, which was what, like 4 months ago? While I know she is technically following my request to be there Friday morning, I'm really hurt that she is flying in to see me, but will miss out on half of a day of celebrating with me. I'm further hurt by the fact that I found out from someone else instead of her telling me directly. I understand family is important and that she doesn't see him that often, but we see each other even less. I haven't talked to her because I don't know if I'm right to be upset with her since she is technically following my request, best, or if she is in the wrong for using my bachelorette trip as an excuse to see her brother. Appreciate all of your advice. Okay, here is the thing. I do think it's weird, and I understand why you would be hurt that she didn't tell you. Because, like we've talked about a million times, I feel like when people omit information, they know that they're in the wrong a little bit. Like, I feel if I were her in that situation and my friend was like doing something in Minneapolis, let's say, and because here is my God's honest truth, I don't feel like it's that bad, only because like with you giving the like flexibility of coming in Friday, I understand how that could be misinterpreted. I'm not saying it's okay. I completely understand why your feelings are hurt. And like, I want to be like a honest, advice giver, but I also don't want to like dismiss your feelings because I understand how that would be hurtful. You're like, oh, so you're going to get here. And like, it technically starts Thursday, but you're going to see your brother. But you did also, unfortunately, because the kindness of your heart, not unfortunately, but like you are so kind that you said people could come Friday. So then her in the planning, like she thought, yeah, 2 for 1, which I understand why somebody would do that. And like, it is family. I understand that you're saying you see her less, but like that is her brother. So like, I feel like you probably should see your brother more depending on the relationship. And like, obviously they must try and be close, because if it goes till Sunday and then she's just leaving to go home, like I understand her side of like wanting to see your brother. And you did say, and I get it, you were saying it because you didn't want people who like, have not that many PTO days or like the flying thing. Like you said it for like that reason specific, but unfortunately she took that as like, I don't need to be there till Friday. So if I can fly in Thursday, I'll squeeze in seeing my brother. So like, I don't, if it were me, I don't think that would like bother me that much because, well, I don't know. Damn, this is hard because you strictly gave that, request, but it also is like, this is a real human being. Like, it is her brother. And like, I don't know. It's not like she's intentional. Like, I don't think it's like a malicious thing. And I don't think you're taking it that way. Holy shit, Brenna, like collect your thoughts for once in your fucking life. I do think it's weird that she didn't say that to you, because I think she knows that that's like not what it was intended for. And she's probably like a little bit nervous that you would be upset. Therefore, she didn't mention it. So that like gives me pause to know that she probably knows that you wouldn't be thrilled about that, which is like, yes, here we are. You are not thrilled. You heard about it through somebody else, which always makes it sting a little bit more. No matter what the situation is, like hearing about something from somebody else that has to do with you sucks. So like those feelings are 100% valid. But I do see like, because if she can't squeeze it in on Sunday, like you did give the option. So then it kind of makes Thursday night feel like it's not as important, because if like people can miss it, like, you know what I'm trying to think from her side. And like, yeah, if she lives far away, like I would probably do the same thing. Like if I were coming to Minneapolis, like if I lived super far from my brother and like there was a trip and this exact situation happened, I honestly might do the same thing. But I feel like I would tell my friend, or I would ask her first. If not, then I would come in on Wednesday. But again, I have flexibility and not everybody has that. That's where she kind of misses. Like if this were one of my very good friends, like I would ask, like, what are your thoughts on this? Probably like, I'm trying to see I feel like I would just have a conversation about it in general. Like if I were you and my friend came to me and was like, okay, I'm going to be there. That wouldn't bother me that much, but like, that's if she's speaking to me. But again, you guys know I'm like super relaxed in this kind of thing. I mean, again, this is similar to the last question. Like, I don't know what you do from here. Like, you can bring it up, but like, she's going to do that. And like, it's only going to sour it. I feel like it has nothing to do with you. And unfortunately, I'm not going to say it's your fault, but I think with the criteria being that people can come Friday, it kind of opened the door for that. Unfortunately, I know that wasn't your intention and you were literally just doing that to be so kind and great. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want you to feel like I'm like telling you you're in the wrong, but like, I understand how exactly this happened. Like, she's just thinking like, oh, if she's saying it's okay to come Friday morning, like Thursday isn't that important, I'll just go see my brother. Like, I'm sure it's not as bad as it seems. And like, she really doesn't think that it would probably probably hurt your feelings that bad. Again, she didn't bring it up to you, so like that's weird. She definitely probably was like, oh, she won't be thrilled, but I don't think she probably thought it would like be that hurtful if it came out. I don't know. Again, people should communicate. I think you can bring it up to her, but like, what are you going to demand she comes? Like, that's weird. Like, I feel like that's not being a good friend. Unfortunately, it is your bachelorette, and like, we put a lot of expectations on these things, and like, we want to celebrate and like with our people, and like, that's what it's for. But it's also like, oh, she just wants to see her brother. It's not like she's going to like hook up with a guy like she never sees him, or she sees him 3 to 4 times a month. So if she can knock out a trip, I get it. So maybe just express like, hey, like I heard from Lisa that you're going to see your brother. Like, again, there's no way that you bring that up without like kind of making it a little bit awkward. I support you in whatever you do. I would just like let it go. If it were me, I'd be like, okay, she's going to see her brother. She'll be there Friday. It's fine. You have Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday morning. Like, this is what happens with bachelorettes. We have such high expectations, and then something doesn't go as planned, or somebody does something, and then it's just fucking, and then we're pissed and we're mad. And it's like, it's just supposed to be fun. Like, you have plenty of other days. Like, whatever. Have fun with those girlfriends on Thursday night. Like, you get to bond more with them. Like, you still have so much time, like the weekend, and like the whole wedding. The idea is just to like be with your loved ones and to celebrate, and like whatever that looks like. We are busy, and like people have lives and only get certain time off. So like I try not to like, however people want to live their lives and choose. Like, she could have chose not to come. Like obviously she didn't have anything else and she is coming, but like people could not come. I know girls get upset by that, but it's like people need to do what they need to do. And like she feels like she needs to see her brother and can fit that in, like whatever, support her. And that's what I would do. But I support you if you want to have a conversation, if you are annoyed about it. Those feelings are 100% valid, and the fact that she didn't bring it up to you. But those are just my thoughts. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for being here. Happy Friday. Have the best weekend, and I will see you on Monday. Okay, bye, guys.